to the Purple Portal with your host, Elaine Bartlett. It is absolutely a delight to be with you today on the day out of time in the galactic world. So we're going to be speaking a lot today about this particular day and the entrance tomorrow into a whole new year. There's a lot to share. So I know many of you, when I start sharing, you kind of get frustrated sometimes that others want to share too, but I do invite you to share. And you're welcome to call in today at 321-806-3159, 321-806-3159, or you're welcome to email me at purpleportal777@gmail.com. As I was driving to the studio today, I thought, I have to encourage you, if you live within driving distance to Melbourne in Florida, you really must come and visit me at my lovely little studio. It is by appointment, but there's something very magical and very healing about the space. So if you're completely out of whack and out of tune with yourself, I'm going to encourage you to make an appointment and come on over. On the other hand, if you can't come to Melbourne, I do a yeoman amount of consultation every day on the telephone, all around the country, once in a while outside the country. But it seems to work just the same. And I do a lot of remote healing with people and with energy. So when you need to connect, it's on you. You have to reach out. I can do a lot of kind of global thought, but sometimes just individually, we each need personal attention, and that's what I'm about. A lot of my stuff, I think I'm at the stage of my experience on Earth where a lot of my stuff has, thank God, dropped away. So once the person works out their stuff, they have more energy and better focus and better commitment to serve outside themselves. So I encourage you to get in touch with me. So the day out of time, very interesting day. Now the last 5 days, actually, if you had tuned in last week, the last 5 days were kind of a cleansing period. Cleansing of your body. You should have been eliminating foods. I know once again, for the 1 trillionth time, I am eliminating different sources of food, different foods altogether, including almonds, one of my favorites. It's like, no, not right now. So I'm in quarantine from certain kinds of nuts for 5 months. But there's a reason for this. Our bodies have to regenerate. If we're going to stay put, and in my case, reach out to others, I want to reach out with a steady hand, an open heart, very fixed focus and concentration. And the more we each do that, the better we are. First of all, for myself, then, you sort of the ripples of the stone as it drops into the water ripple out a lot. My nuclear family is better. My friendships, my close ties, they benefit. And then the acquaintances benefit. Then the condominium that I live in benefits. There's a dear soul in the condominium that recently I understood she's experiencing some very strong health issues. Just so happens she lives exactly above me, which means the master bedroom would be exactly aligned with where I am. She doesn't know this. There's no reason for her ever to know it. But because I choose to be helpful, what do you think is wafting at this darling soul? Trust me on this one, I am absolutely not stepping over her willfully with, oh, please hurry and get well. I learned that last year, and P.S., in these last 5 days, finally I'm beginning to write the book on it. That is all gobbledygook nonsense that is connected with the last 2,000 years of darkness. So actually, what I do is just focus pure radiant particles of light right on up into the room, if she likes to take advantage of it. If it's her destiny to use it, lovely. If not, it wafts right on up through the rest of the entire building. Anybody else is free to use it or not. So I'm not manipulating anybody's life path. You know, if her life path is supposed to be over at X number of days, who the heck do I think I am to superimpose my happy-go-lucky, I can save you nonsense? No. So allow the person the freedom to heal if they want to, and to excuse themselves from this particular go-around if they know they've gotten what they came for. You know, we're so busy judging what the other guy came for, and I'm telling you, it's rubbed me not so well for the last 10, maybe 20 years, this craziness of sending the person light and love. This is not what I'm talking about. I'm just radiating it because it's reminding her essence. This is who you are. Allow it to support you if you want. Accept more of it if you like it. Good. But you are totally that. So in effect, it's almost a double dip. I'm remembering you're totally that. You're totally light and love. In the human condition, yes, we sometimes need a helping hand. We need a hug. So I'm just wafting more. If you want it, good. If you don't, good. Same good. So, at any rate, here we are in this very interesting day out of time. It is the last day of what is called a 13-moon, 28-day calendar. This kind of calendar is actually energetically more aligned to human beings. It is aligned with the feminine cycle. It is aligned to the proper use of time. And therefore, it is much healthier than the calendar we are now using, which, trust me, the Galactics have tried in various ways to be shifting that calendar from somewhere, I believe it was in the 1930s. But of course, that death grip on the old system is still in the dying phase. It's not over yet. And that, unfortunately, that death grip has been held in place by male consciousness that is out of balance. So this particular day is actually a day where it's actually no day of the week and it's no day of the month. It's almost like a wide open gap of spaciousness. The best thing that could have happened today was you just take yourself away from it all and you allow the day to just be. And in the beingness, you come to terms with your own galactic heritage, which, trust me, is magnificent. And you come to terms with your innate creativity and how it unites with others' creativity. So it's truly a remarkable day. Interestingly, in Chinese medicine, which would be all of my association with feng shui and the 4 pillars and learning to appreciate that language, as I overlaid these 2 languages, fascinating to see that in the 4 pillars energy of today, total clash day, don't do anything, stay clear. It was almost its own way of saying, just let the energies collapse. Don't try to fix it, change it, or adjust it. Collapse as it must. And it's getting you ready for a new beginning tomorrow. And that's how close the beginning is. The best that could happen today in the silence, excuse me, is you take this day to begin again to co-create your world as you would like to see it. So, for example, the dear soul that lives up above me that's just been diagnosed with something. If I felt that she could grasp or even be open to what I'm saying, I think she could grasp it, but I'm learning when a person's not open, I must not share. So for those of you who tune in, if it's not for you, don't tune me out. Don't torment yourself, because it's not a good vibrational match. But for example, if I use this dear soul as the example, and she understood that, oh, today, this day of no time, day out of time, she could actually see and create the world she wants to begin tomorrow. So she could create all the vision. It's a visionary thing because art is visual. She could create a vision in this day. All diseased cells easily flow outside my body. It's done. Check, over, and out. And so the beginning of the release. And she could begin to sow the seeds of the portion of her body that's been targeted as supposedly not well. But, of course, I go crazy because I know that's the appearance. But I would take her underneath. Underneath, everything is perfectly well. We've become addicted to the appearance. So I would have her recreate that portion of her body. You know, in this case, it happens to be the breast area. Man, I would be sowing seeds of her on a magical, limitless shopping tour to Victoria's Secret. You know, you could have fun with it and see that next summer she's got the most fantastic bikini on the beach, however she wants to play it out. So this day out of time, although it seems like the energies, it's just like a big yawn, a big vacuum. And it's very, you know, if you'll play it that way, that's aligning your energy to this higher galactic energy. Okay, so what we're stepping into tomorrow, very fascinating. And I did begin this a little bit last week. Some of it may be repetitious, but not really, because today I'm at a different frequency. Therefore, even if I said the exact same thing, it's different. So tomorrow we step into the wisdom of Yellow Crystal Seed Year. The galactic affirmation for the year. Now, where would you find this kind of thing? Go on to 13moon.com and get yourself a galactic calendar. I didn't know what the heck I was reading when I first started it, but get it. We can talk about it. Why, you know, as I grew up, I thought, I would love to learn a lot of different languages. And I always held it very deeply in my heart as kind of a sorrow that I never felt all that attuned to foreign languages. And I did not discipline myself. I didn't go that route of, I wanted to learn French, and I wanted to learn Spanish, and I wanted to learn Chinese. I wanted to learn it all. Needless to say, I can just about say bonjour correctly. And probably those of you who are very steeped in French are cringing. But these other languages that are here for us, you can learn it. you can learn the galactic language. And I think in my case, I mastered the language of the hand, the language of the stars, the language of light, which is what the Gene Keys is about, the language of feng shui, which basically is Chinese, or certainly Eastern and Asian. Hopefully, I've learned the language of the heart. So these languages, although we feel maybe not particularly adept at being able to speak Chinese, in an odd way, I can speak Chinese. Where I live now, my landlord is Chinese, and I would tell you, we have the most loving, heartfelt relationship. And I don't know how that's happening, because I guarantee my best Chinese is simply a gracious bow or kung fu. I really am not adept at it. And equally, they have opened their heart. So lots of languaging available as of stepping into a yellow crystal seed year. So the galactic affirmation is, I dedicate in order to target. So in other words, this is where your power is in this coming year. I dedicate my consciousness to help you. So it's a focused dedication, and it's completely empowering to both of us. It goes on to affirming universalizing awareness, and that's the action. I want to know that by my consciousness expanding, I can have an awareness of everything at all times. I don't have to experience living in a war-torn country to be able to internalize it and be enough of it so that the compassion of healing overflows, and those who want to step into the healing aspect of it can. The essence part of this affirmation this year is, I seal the input of flowering via the crystal tone of cooperation. Now, as you can see, this is like a language. I'm telling you, I would go over something like this for a long time, perhaps all year. I bet you I will go over it all year, because it keeps sinking in different ways. So when I seal the input of flowering, I want to be an open flower. That's my choice now. For years and years and years, I was much more comfortable being a closed, tight bud, meaning very shy, very frightened that I wouldn't be accepted, I wouldn't be appreciated, I wouldn't be understood. Well, that closes you down. So now I want to have this flowering thing so that perhaps whatever the fragrance is that wafts out of the radiance, you can smell it over the airwaves. Maybe there's a sense of lilac or rose that all of a sudden will hit you and heal you. And we didn't even speak. And that's a tone of cooperation. That shows your heart is putting down judgments that, she's into the woo-woo stuff again, or I don't like the tone of her voice, or she said something I don't care for, she has blonde hair and I hate blondes. You put it down. And therefore, this magnificent flowering is here for us for the next 365 days. That's all good enough. But here's the part that actually I didn't get it the first go-around. It took me all week as I contemplated, how am I going to present this in a way that, number one, makes sense to me, but that you'll get it. And the whole affirmation, I'm going to read it again because it's the last sentence I have not read, but it's topped off with this. So the affirmation is, I dedicate in order to target universalizing awareness. I seal the input of flowering with the crystal tone of cooperation. I am a galactic activation portal. Enter me. I am a galactic activation portal. Enter me. Now, some of you who have really been listening and working with what I've said all these weeks, you know once in a while I get a little wild in the streets because it's like, oh my gosh, it's a galactic activation day. Holy smokes, I'm like jumping up and down like a crazy woman. What struck me is, oh my, the entire year is a portal. It's a galactic activation portal. The only thing you're invited to do is enter it. It's there for you. I don't know exactly what I'm going to be doing with these portals this year, but I'm feeling it because I'm choosing to go into the portal. So there's a lot that we get to do together, and it is a year of togetherness. It really is. It's a cycle for positive synergy and expansion. And I actually thought, you know what? What exactly does that word synergy mean? I've used it. I've written about it. I didn't have a clue. So I pulled out old Mr. Webster, and it is the interaction or cooperation of two or more to produce a combined effect greater than the sum of our separate effects. So, and they gave the example, the synergy between artist and a record company. The artist needs the recording company. Elaine I need Talk Network Radio. I need Jeff. There's the synergy. So there's supposed to be a lot more synergy this year. So as much as the little retiring closed butt of me would like to stay that way at times, I really tell myself, drop it, get on with it, because in this new cycle, here is what we have been called to do. We have been called to be an instrument of higher order. And incidentally, there's 8 things here, and I'm going to spit them out. If any of you want to email me, purpleportal777@gmail.com, I'll send you these 8 things. They're just 8 lovely things. So you're called to be an instrument of higher order. That means bringing forth energies that are larger than yourself. That's what the portal's about. You are called to experience life as an interconnected mandala. And that is true. You are called to welcome coherency, meaning stick together. And you're called to welcome complex stability. That's all number 3. To welcome coherency, meaning sticking together, and complex stability. So you're going to feel a little unstable before you can feel stability, but your stability may come by holding someone else's hand. Your stability may come by finding that right helpful healer. And then there's no one who's actually a healer, but that agent who's holding the space for your healing to return to its natural state. Number 4, you're called to cooperate with your own higher self. That's a big one, because half of you are like, duh, higher who? What? Where? So you must cooperate with your own higher self. That's called your conscience. That's called you know what to do. So cooperate with it. Don't be playing around this year. You're called to energize your networks, your infrastructure, your people that you know. That's an important one. At least it resonates with me because, you know, I can only share my stuff and hope that some which way it triggers something in you. I have no need to share my stuff. I could care less what happened anymore. But if it helps you, take it and go with it. The reason this strikes a chord with me, I grew up as the middle child of 5 kids. I was the balance wheel. I was the one that wanted to create harmony and not further chaos. Therefore, I would not ask for something and I wouldn't reach out easily for fear that it would put too much on the person. But I'll tell you what, this year, those people that perhaps they need reaching out to. I thought of a few of them driving up here today. In my tenderness, I don't want to interfere with you. I don't want to make you feel uncomfortable or unhappy. No, we're all one people. So look out, some of you. You're going to receive phone calls from me. Number 6, you're called to honor the wisdom of the circle. If you're not comfortable in a circle, I'm going to give you a very simple exercise. Take a pencil and paper and simply draw circles within circles within circles. That's actually how we had to learn the Palmer method. We had to draw these circles within circles. It will begin to shift stuck energy, and it's just that simple. Number 7, collaborate in community and join forces to serve your deepest callings. Pay attention to what you're called to do. Somebody recently mentioned a group that's starting up near me where it's all faiths. And each person gets to kind of tell where they're standing in their stuff. It's not connected with any religious order. It's almost more of a show and tell. This is what I'm about. This is why I wear this turban. Don't be afraid of me because I have a scarf on. I think that is going to be so healing for people. So step out of your narrow confines of your belief system that you can only go to one organization or one church. And if that church is telling you that, really run. Really run. Number 8, you are called to follow what is called the crystalline clarity of your heart. So that means the purest part of your heart. And I tell you, the heart has reason that reason knows nothing of. So trust your heart. It won't mislead you. It loves you. It probably loves you more than you love you. For that, I would say many of you have some crystals that you purchased through me at different incarnations of different stores and things. This day is the day between today and tomorrow. Take those crystals out, love them again, give them a bath. One person I'm thinking of comes to mind right now. Miss Kathy, if you're listening up in Franklin Lakes, this is about you because I know how much you love your crystals. You talk to your crystals. You sit with your crystals. This beautiful soul should give classes on crystals because she's got it. She has the language of crystals down pat. One of her magnificent crystal bowls unfortunately broke. Oh my goodness. She waited for the right day. She cried with this crystal. She waited for the right day to take it out in the yard and bury it and give it the most beautiful ceremony so it could go forward. It was really remarkable to watch. So that's the 8th one. Let the crystals help you get in touch with your heart. Crystalline clarity actually supposedly was to have dissolved all rigidness last year. I still have my doubts about some people and last year because they still mull around in it. It's over. It's tomorrow. Last year, anything that started in July of last year, it's complete, whatever all of that chaos was to be about. So put it down because you are now afforded the opportunity of seeing things from a higher perspective and now The crystalline clarity allows you to bring forth this higher order. Now you can honor the elaborate interworkings of life because hopefully you can see it more clearly as a very well-ordered, interrelated, loving universe. It's not going to do anything. Last year was disruption and chaos. But you're still here. Hopefully you're still here. Well, if it's your destiny, you're still here. And if you're not here on this planet, you're elsewhere, recovering, regenerating, reformatting, or reappearing. The crystal tone, we see, because we've stepped into this whole crystal tone year, it does ask you to translate your knowledge and insights in such a way that they could be universally applicable and relevant and shareable with all, thus assisting the evolution and elevation of mankind. Now, here's a very simple example of that. On my way into the studio, I made a phone call to a beautiful friend of mine down south a bit who has found finally the proper, healthy way to deal with food. And in so doing, there's been a healthy weight loss over the past, I think, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, something like that. Now, applied correctly, that beautiful soul would find ways to translate what she's learned and the insights in a way she doesn't have to have them universally applicable, although oddly it will be, because this year she's going to be flying a lot to see a new grandbaby. So all she's doing is walking through an airport, right? Think of the lives her frequency is touching, because that now there's a newfound sense of joy and self-worth, self-love, appreciation of the real beauty within. So that's one way of sharing it. The other, I already know, she shared it with her daughter in a way that the daughter could hear it. Sometimes our children can't hear us worth a hoot because we're the parent, and what do we know? She found a way to share it that the daughter could hear it. This is amazing. So it's sharing on the most basic level, simply saying, could be as simple as, geez, I had to go buy a scale to weigh the food. I had to understand that I'm only allowed to have 3 meals a day, and that's it. It could be whatever, however down and dirty in the trenches, versus the ethereal walking through the airport, spine straight, head held high, with a glow that doesn't quit. So you are to embody the highest qualities that are actually encoded in your internal architecture. You are like a crystal with unique facets that contribute to the totality of its beauty. So you are reminded to honor and celebrate your diverse and unique features and contributions, as well as the contributions and facets of all individuals. So it goes right back to what I'm always harping on. Would you just do you, without narcissism, without any twisted part of reality, in that healthy, conscientious way. It could be as simple as drink more water. I don't know what you have to do. What I do know is my way is absolutely 100% correct for only one person on the planet, and it's me. Your way is 100%, if you'll listen to it, which is why the great ones say know yourself. It's 100% correct for you. So this year is about striving to combine your gifts and enhancing your efforts while remaining very clear and lucid in the grace of your autonomy. So in other words, some of you know the word projectors. That gal that I've just referred to, who's lost the weight, she and I both know we are what is called projectors. So we have to be very careful that although we join the circle and we network, we don't get sucked into such a state of it that we actually lose who we are. I have to tell you, I finally think you do reach a point of grace, and I think it's simply grace, perhaps experience, where you recognize, whoop, time out, too much. And you're very honest and you honor that. You know, I had dinner with a gal the other evening. She's a lovely gal and talks and loves to talk. And we always have a lot to talk about. But finally, after about 2.5 hours, she was kind of ready to talk some more. And I knew I wasn't. But I didn't want to hurt her feelings. I was still that little twinge. And she looked at me and she said, "Oh, well, we could talk some more, or are you talked out?" And I thought, and very graciously, with a big smile, I said, "I'm talked out. And I want to go for a walk on the beach. It's been lovely. It's been fun. Bye-bye." So they sound almost ridiculously insignificant to even put on the air. But I'll tell you what, I knew I had stepped into my authentic self by that little thing. And that's what I want you all to watch for in your life. I don't care whether it's learning to end the conversation gracefully. You know, you be your own emperor and empress. Your individual efforts of perseverance and commitment in this new year, you will find they are invaluable. And therefore, I think you're going to find an easier time being persevering and committed. And won't that be wonderful for some of you who have buzzed around sort of out of focus and fluttering here and there? No, get committed. And with this galactic portal and assistance from the higher order of energy fields, well, ask for it. Ask. The other evening, I was helping my son with a project. It was a really nasty project in his house. And I was just kind of being Dolly Doolittle, fluttering around, trying to organize things in the wake of this awful job that he had taken upon himself. And at one point, and my son is like a lake. He is so disciplined. He is so, well, he's an architect, so you could only imagine. One foot in front of the other. He doesn't whine, doesn't complain. But this job kind of got him. And he had been at it for a few days by the time I got there. And so he'd created this airless tent in which to work, and I could feel his frustration building, and finally a couple of good old blasphemous words blasted out, and as the mother, I kind of want to run right in there and fix it, or at least help him, but it was impossible, and you couldn't, and nor should I. And so I had already written what I'm talking to you about, so I understood very well, invoke the higher order. Well, my son's dad crossed over when my son was 5 or 6 years old. Oh, man, I got that guy's energy in there with, you help your son right this minute. You get in there. You do this with him. Come on. This will help you keep growing. It'll help him. All of a sudden, honest to goodness, it was as if Moses held up the staff and the waters became calm. It was very interesting. And the work concluded itself very quickly after that. And there was no more blasphemy going on. So it was very interesting. So I'm telling you, call on the higher order. Whoever your higher order is, And indeed, it's us, because it's only one. You'll figure that out at some point. But for right now, if you still need a sense of there's somebody else out there, go for it. And truth is, you are all in all. That's like another topic for another day. Some of you will laugh with me and get it, and others are like, oh, thank goodness, I can still call on Jesus and Mary and Joseph and Buddha, and have a good time. The problem is you're it. You are that. I'm telling you, another day. So the yellow seed portion of the year. Seeds represent the miracle of life, symbolic of the living power of potential residing in you, waiting to be released into action. I heard a little thing last night about this guy, I don't know, I'm thinking the North Pole, but it wasn't that far up there. He has a seed storage place for millions of seeds to be released just in case mankind does himself in. And I thought, wow, that's us. That's the macrocosm of us who are the microcosm. You have millions of seeds stored in yourself. What do you want to release? And for heaven's sake, if it's a year of commitment and perseverance, do yourself a favor. Pick 2 or 3 or 5 seeds. I don't know that you're exactly adept at releasing 1 million seeds all at once, because I think that causes confusion and chaos in you. But if you're going to pick a seed, pick one and stick with it. If you want to have apples, plant apple seeds, fertilize it, water it, love it, talk to the apple tree as it's coming up out of the ground. Don't rip it up before it's a seedling. Don't do that. You won't have apples. I mean, become a farmer. In the old days, and boy, does this seem old, farmers were revered for their knowledge. Somehow, like the rest of us, they're spit upon, manipulated, and scorned. I think we should be awfully thankful that we have farmers, and we should look to them for ways about farming, our life. And Jeff just told me it's Iceland. He's in Iceland. Thank you, Jeff. Oh, I'm so glad we're on the same page often. So that guy with the seeds, he's in Iceland. All right, but you are like this pod of seeds that, for most of you, your seeds have not even begun to be flicked out correctly into soil that could nurture the seeds. Sometimes it's been your problem that you just were in such a hurry you didn't do it. Other times, though, I would tell you, on this planet, the soil has been not good for you to plant seeds. And oddly, the mirror to that, of course, is how we have stripped our soil and how we have created seeds now that are, they're poisonous. So to take today to go into your seed supply, look at some healthy seeds. Take them out. See what you wish to flourish in your life. And then plant these seeds with intention, precision, and focus. And once you're seeded, you must give it TLC. You must support it. You can't, look at, again, I'll say, I can't tell you I'm going to write a book and I write 3 pages. There's that seed. Well, if I abandon it, if I don't have TLC and work on it with consistency and commitment, there's not going to be any result. There would be no tree called a book. So when you honor the natural process, it can't help but bring a lucrative end. That's a law of nature, and we're connected to nature. Your level of consciousness determines the seeds you plant. Now, you got to think about that, so I'm going to say it again. Your level of consciousness determines the seeds you plant. So if your consciousness is heavy loaded with, I'm not worthy, I can't ask for what I'm worth, I don't have the right understanding or knowledge, you number one, you won't have any plant. But, if your consciousness determines the plants you seed, sometimes a person's consciousness is awfully low. So the consciousness could be, they're a marksman, an assassin. That's the seed they're sowing. They're sowing seeds of perverted sexual activities. They're sowing seeds of discord in the school system, feeding the children energetically information that is not healthy. So it depends on your level of clarity and consciousness. And it's unfortunately succeeding is pretty much permeated everything you touch. So do a check into your own level of consciousness. It is the year to expand your consciousness. So if you don't like what you're seeing and you don't like what you're reaping in your life so far, it's simply because of your level of consciousness and nothing else. It's not because your mother hated you. It's not because your father abandoned you. It's nothing like that. It's all about you and changing your consciousness. So it is definitely the year to reseed yourself. I can't be explicit enough about that. Okay? It is evident that the first dawning of consciousness is the beginning of the states of consciousness. So I think really what I'm saying to you this year, it's time to be conscious. Just whack yourself around a little bit so the consciousness comes. Without the initial coming to consciousness, man is merely an animal plus reason and actually cannot experience further states of consciousness. This is the animalistic, people you see that can terrorize one another, can torture one another. There is actually no state of consciousness there. So that's not you. You wouldn't be listening to this if that was you. But if you still have a belief that, something in your consciousness is low, well, fix it. Because the galactic material is here now for you. Now, to do this, it will be very helpful if you stay present. If you move out of the present, if you go back to your childhood, or you fast forward to how am I going to survive next month, you won't be able to adjust your own state of consciousness. So the state of consciousness can only be experienced by a person who has become conscious by absolute presence. So you need to stay right here. Understand that we are this galactic activation portal invites you to enter gateways of consciousness where the seeds you sow can flourish beyond your wildest beliefs. And it's kind of like take an inventory, write a note. Where are you between today and tomorrow? Because I'm going to be harping on this next year at the same time, same station, to say, okay, what seeds have grown? And we're going to do seed reality checks throughout the year. You have such an opportunity this year to integrate the galactic code of light into your genetic code of life. And this will actually change your DNA. So step into the portal with me. We can do this. Bye.